I died. Not metaphorically, not philosophically. I truly died clinically, consciously, existentially. And yet, here I am, writing from a modest wooden chalet nestled in the quiet mountains of southern Switzerland, trying to give voice to what lies beyond the veil. I am a scientific researcher. At 58 years old, after decades of working in laboratories surrounded by formulas, graphs, and machines, I believed I had a solid grasp on the material world. Atoms, fields, electrical currents, spectrometers. I lived in the realm of logic and analysis. But nothing in my career prepared me for what happened one fateful Friday afternoon. An event that would collapse my intellectual certainties and open me to a horizon far beyond human reason, a place of love, light, and undying consciousness. It was a Friday, late in the afternoon. My colleague Mark and I had been trying to fix a malfunctioning spectrometer for 2 days. This machine analyzes suspended particles in a liquid, an advanced piece of technology requiring delicate handling and expertise. At around 3 o'clock, I climbed onto a tall stool to reach the plasma torch, located deep inside a metal column standing 2 meters high. In order to access the internal mechanisms, I had to remove the protective panels surrounding it. I leaned my torso against the column, resting my hands on the upper edge of the frame. My balance was precarious, but I was focused. I wasn't deeply familiar with the internal wiring of this machine, a fact that would soon prove fatal. Mark was about 2 meters to my right, managing the control panel. He looked up at me and asked, "Are you ready?" I nodded. "Okay." He pressed the switch, and in that instant, the world shattered. My body was frozen against the metal. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. A massive jolt of electricity surged through me, pure agony coursing through every nerve like wildfire. I felt it with absolute certainty. I was dying. Unbeknownst to me, my chest had come into contact with 4 vertically aligned resistors inside the metal column. The uppermost resistor, beneath my shoulders, carried a direct current of 4,000 volts at 5 amps. The second, at heart level, carried 220 volts alternating at 10 amps. The lower 2 carried low-voltage currents. I entered an internal dialogue, almost pleading. "No, not now. It's far too soon. There's so much left to do. My children. I can't leave them. I love them too deeply. This is absurd. Why now? I am the father of 3 boys, Alexander, 10, Christoph, 7, and David, 4. The thought of leaving them horrified me. I tried to fight, to resist, but I couldn't move. Mark, focused on the screen, had no idea I was being electrocuted. I couldn't make a sound. The pain was unbearable, the torture beyond comprehension. And then, I let go. In that moment of surrender, something profound happened. I began to detach. Images flashed rapidly. Material possessions I'd once valued, car, apartment, furniture, slipped away from me like shadows. Then came emotional ties, parents, lovers, friends. My children. I was leaving them, too. Finally, my self-image dissolved. The concept of André vanished. I was free. And in that freedom, a door opened into infinite awareness. I was flooded with a blinding, loving light, immeasurable, omnipresent, and eternal. I became a pure observer, perceiving in more than 180 degrees, without body or thought. I hovered above my trembling physical shell, still locked to the machine. But I felt no pain, no fear, no judgment. All concepts dissolved. There was only love. I was eternal. I was free. This wasn't just peace. It was divine love of such magnitude that it obliterated fear, sadness, even the very notion of time and space. I drifted into a place like Eden, more vivid than anything in life. Colors were brighter, sounds clearer. My mind could move through dimensions at the speed of intention. In a flash, I reviewed my entire life, recognizing how often unnecessary fears had robbed me of happiness. I had loved with caution, with judgment, withholding what should have been freely given. I saw the poverty of my love, and it pierced me. In that moment, I understood love is our true essence, and the absence of it, our greatest tragedy. And yet, paradoxically, everything I'd lived, good or bad, painful or joyful, was meaningful. Everything belonged. Guided by an unseen will, I found myself floating above my son David's kindergarten. He was laughing, playing with friends. His joy was radiant, and it enveloped me like music of the highest fidelity. I merged with that joy. Then I visited Alexander and Christoph, 1 kilometer away, in their classrooms. They were diligent, attentive. I watched them with a love so intense it became almost physical, though I had no body. Distances no longer mattered. If they had been hundreds of kilometers away, I would have reached them just the same. I was thought, will, and love. As I rose again into a luminous, infinite space, I perceived a radiant sun of incandescent love. At the core of that light, I saw my children's faces with a clarity I had never known. Through their voices, telepathic, wordless, they called to me, "Daddy, come back. Find your body again. We need you." I didn't want to return. I was finally home. But their love pulled me with a power greater than paradise. I hovered once more over my convulsing body, now fragile and broken. I saw their glowing faces in my mind, surrounded by halos of shimmering color. Through a form of pure mental transmission, I asked Mark to press the emergency stop. He did, instantly. Later he told me, "I don't know why. I just felt something was wrong. I had to stop everything." My vision dimmed as I began to re-enter my body. The transition was painful, slow, like being stuffed into a tight, broken vessel. My heart beat weakly. My breath was shallow. My hands were burned, my limbs twisted. I felt like a gnarled tree, aged and broken. Part of me still longed to return to the other side, but it was not my choice. Under medical care, I slept for 2 days straight. When I awoke, the doctors told me, "You've been through something unbelievable. You were electrocuted by 400 volts at 5 amps for 20 to 25 seconds. Your body experienced the contraction force of lifting 2 tons. Despite my athletic build and strong heart, my survival was a miracle." Even now, as I write these lines, my body trembles with memory. Tears flow freely. That accident opened the gates of eternity. And each day since, I've carried a deep longing for the paradise I lost. I could no longer live as before. That old life was gone. In its place stood a sacred responsibility to love, not superficially, but from the deep truth of the heart. I left my career. I withdrew from society. Here, in this quiet chalet, I strive each day to love without condition. I live simply, speak with sincerity, and treat every encounter as sacred. But this new awareness sets me apart. The world does not easily welcome unconditional love. We are trapped in ego, fear, jealousy, and hatred, all rooted in separation from our true nature. Often, I am misunderstood. My efforts at loving are clumsy. Rejection still wounds me. But I continue. I float like a solitary swimmer above the swamp of human chaos, offering warmth to those willing to receive it. Now, at nearly 64, my children are grown. I live alone. I suffer from a debilitating illness. But I am no longer afraid. I wait, not with dread, but longing, for that light of love to welcome me home once more. When I share this story, I do not demand belief. I accept skepticism. But if, as you read these words, your heart stirs, then you already understand. This story is true, and one day, when your own moment comes, you'll remember this light, and you'll know